Once it is started, I will tell you. You can start. Yes, sir. You can proceed.
Um, Good morning, friends, and good morning, freshers who are getting into the fraternity of mechanical engineering in Bannari Amman Institute of Technology, Erode. Hi, friends. I take this opportunity to talk to you not only as a mechanical engineer, but also as a fellow student who has evolved right from the age what you are now till what I am now, so that an evolution can be sketched out, which is in front of you for the future. Friends, I call you friends because I treat you as already mechanical engineers because I don't treat you as young students. You see, the world is quite changed. In the year 1988, when I passed out of my engineering, the world was different. And 4 years from now, when you are going to pass out your engineering, the world is going to be entirely different. The reason is when I went into an engineering college, we did not have the cozy inputs like information technology, which has influenced us to what we are compared to what you are as of today. You are all quite intelligent. You are all quite affluenced with a lot of knowledge sources that is already available to you in the form of gadget, usage of gadget, and usage of various knowledge sources that is worldwide spread. It is not a digital divide, it's a worldwide spread. You are in such a common plank. Whereas we came out from a process where we had nothing, and then we started with giving out something which is available to us, and we created a kind of a clay model to evolve out. To explain you further well, please feel frank because I'm not going to talk anything from my prepared speech or anything. It's just going to be extempore, right from my heart. I'm going to talk to you. Okay. See, um, when I came out of my engineering college, of course, I graduated. I was ranked number one in my college, and I had the opportunity to plunge out well. My first job was in English Electric in the year 1988. Okay, and after English Electric, I was there, a mechanical engineer called looking after the manufacturing segment. We were manufacturing the fuse gears and switch gears. English Electric was a part of GE, General Electric. Then later on from English Electric, I moved on to railways. I was the one who cleared engineering services and I got into railways. And meanwhile, when I was in railways, I had a flair. Why can't I, work in a state government? I had a one-day stint as an assistant engineer in TNEB in Atipattu Power Station, where I kept my diary and I came off. I was posted to generation department, boiler section, and then I came off. Then after railways, I moved on to Hindustan Motors. I was a personal manager, looking after. No, no, at that time the HR was evolving. That was in the year 1995, and I was given the position of HR manager orientation, and I was looking after training and recruiting graduate engineering students and many things for Hindustan Motors. Meanwhile, I got back. That was in the place called Indore, which is in Madhya Pradesh. Then I had got married and I came back to Chennai, which is my hometown, where I was born, bred, brought everything. In Chennai, it was India Pistons, which took me for employment. In India Pistons, I was the group personal manager of India Pistons in Maraimalai Nagar, looking after 7 factories. Of course, in the force of engineering and the HR. Then moved on to L&T, L&T Valve division, which is called ATCO India. I was Kanjipuram HR head. I was handling the industrial relations, implementing a lot of time study for productivity improvements and many things. Then moved on to have my own journey, like I started my own. Till 2009, I was on my own, having my own organization, where we ventured into a good clientele base like Dr. Reddy's in pharma, Nippo Batteries, Pepsi, You had Regma Ceramics and many good brands we had. Even Gujarat Electricity Board restructuring, everything we did. That in the year 2005, I went on to an international posting where Oracle hired me for being their change manager and the project manager for Uganda in Africa. I went in for implementing the Oracle ERP systems there. But before, getting into Oracle in L&T itself, I had the SAP implementation exposure, which was the largest base in India. And similarly, the largest in the world was for Oracle. I handled it in Africa, Uganda. I was a country manager there. Then they moved on to go on for Nigeria. They wanted me to be their, country head for Nigeria. Then, things were quite not going well. I came back to India. As I was doing my consulting portion, one of the company which I am now working was also my client, Nelcast. Then from 2009 onwards till today, I am working in that organization as a general manager. I look after the profitability of the company, controlling their dispatches, looking out the costs, seeing the people are being put into place, and then getting out the productivity and running out the total operations. Okay. See, all this is done by a person who came out from a normal background. My parents were only teachers. My teachers, in the sense like they were government school teachers, both my father and mother. From that position to becoming to this position, it requires a lot of evolution. It is not the path which is shown to you, but the way how you use it for coming up is the more important part. So this is the position you are in today, so you can sow your seeds for the dream and then grow up. But if you ask me, was this my position as a dream position? No, this is not my dream position. I'm still evolving because there's nothing limiting a person to grow. Similarly for you, it is not, you can just sow seeds and you will grow to one end. Engineering is a farm of growth. And especially mechanical engineering has a lot of potential to grow for a bright, prosperous future. So you have come to an organization which has a fertile opening for you. I'll tell you about BIT in the last stage because you should also be proud of the association with the organization in which you are studying or the institution in which you are studying. It is quite a good knowledge of excellence institution. I had been connected with this organization in various other ways. One, I came as a keynote speaker for a conference and then started getting on. And I'm also getting towards developing students in mechanical engineering stream. See, I am a mechanical engineer, so I own you people as my fraternity. Your growth is going to enlighten my vision or my accomplishments as a life mechanical engineer. So if I have to do this, what I have to tell you is what has happened in my position, I have bragged it out. But now, if you want to develop in that position, you should know how you have to develop. See, mechanical engineering is a very core engineering. Those days when we had, the cycle. The cycle was a pure mechanical engineering output. Then the mechanical engineering output then grew up with a motor car. Before a motor car came, a motor was fitted into a cycle, which came a motorcycle. Similarly, we had carts. Ford went on with fitting the motor, the engine, and then the automobile started. Then we had the steam engine, invention, and then we had the revolution of mechanical engineering started. So many things are being created by the mother of engineering, which is called mechanical engineering. See, I came to mechanical engineering not by choice. Let me also openly accept it. It's not my choice that I wanted to become a mechanical engineer and I became. No. Like many of you, I wanted to become a doctor, medicine. But I missed the opportunity of becoming, because in the year 1983, when I passed out, we had only few, medical colleges and engineering colleges. See, medical colleges were, only run by the government, no private, and engineering colleges were only seven government engineering colleges in 1983. That is, if you want to step into an engineering college, you have to go through a system of interview. They will select you through interview after your plus two marks. So we had a lot of confusion, and during that time, MGR was the chief minister. He created another plank in the year 1984. That is when I went into engineering. He created an entrance exam, and that opened up the gates for many people to come out of the ill practices that were hovering around in the selection of professional college entrance examinations or entrances. So this entrance examination created an opportunity for many people to get in. And that was the time seven more private engineering colleges were created, and it opened. It was a floodgate open. So there was a lot of opportunity for people who had the real content with them to get into engineering. But today it is not like that. You have 536 plus engineering colleges. So you should know how your engineering college is motivating you to come out. Because you are, and it's more tarnished because of employment opportunities which are pulling down the engineering focus. No. Engineering is still alive. It will be alive, and it will be alive even after you. The thing is, engineering is not that, you study something, you clear, get marks, you get an employment. No, it's very competitive. If you want to clear engineering and get employed, you want to open your gates of employability, or you want to increase the ranking of yourself into the employability status, then means you should have to groom yourself in the academic status, one. Number two, academics alone cannot take you out. There should be some skills, numerical skills, analytical skills, reasoning skills, logical skills. Many skills have to be developed in you. This is more important. And then finally coming out, the personal traits and the technical traits that is expected from an engineer. These all put together are the seeding portions when you come out of an engineering college, for which BIT is in a good position to develop you. See, BIT has a lot of things. One, it's ambience, it's an environment in which it is placed and positioned. Like in the Nilgiri foothills, you have that kind of a good academic ambience for learning. One. Number two, coming onto the faculties, no, they have a lot of UG courses, they have a lot of PG courses, they do a lot of research with PhDs. So organization is fully groomed, opened up. It has about 20 to 25, I heard about 25 UG courses are available, and about 15 PG courses are available, and they also groom out researchers to do a well internationally recognized research, your Banari Amman Institute of Technology. And having been in an industry, I've seen many other students from other industry, your institutions. Why I place BITS in a better way is, BITS is always progressive. It sees things in a higher plan. It sees. See, when I came out of engineering, I was not only cramming or getting onto the knowledge what is available in the books. We were eager to know what is happening outside. But our limitation of knowledge was, we didn't have much of the media support for us to learn. But today, touch of a button, Google, or any search engine you use, you can know what is happening across the world. Mechanical engineering is the mother of all inventions that is happening today. It is the one which makes you a lot of probability of coming out with a machine. You can build a machine, but machine you build, it cannot run only on mechanical resources. That is the change which you people are now going to face. Today, it is an information age. So when you build machines, it has to be linked with the information age. That is called the CPS, Cyber Physical Systems you are going to develop. You are not going to develop machines. You are not going to develop only devices. or equipments or gadgets. You're going to build something which is a system, which is a information protected system. See, information, when it comes, information is a wishful thinking. It's not a think which is in a flow, in a right way. See, our wishes can be sometimes right, can be sometimes wrong, and can be sometimes very dreamy. So information is one of that form. If you want to push this information into your machine, then your machine will become something which is much more than what a human can normally get out of a normal machine. So you are in an age of automation, and that too in an age of intelligent automation. It's not a normal automation, not like, touch a button, it runs. No, that was our age. When we wanted to create transfer machines, we wanted to make something which is a open loop system, closed loop system. Oh, our control engineering knowledges were limited. But today it is not that. It is artificial intelligence. What your brain has to be taught, in the same way, your machine has to think. So if you want to create such kind of a machines and things, you already have the machines. When you get into study mechanical engineering, your theory of machines, your structural designing, your engineering, your machine design, whatever it is, your thermodynamics, all your subjects can give you, what a machine requires. But now what you have to learn is how you can include this with the interdisciplinary part of its existence. That is the thing. See, for example, today you all have smartphones. Smartphones, I bet you ask our age where your parents are, or to the people above our age. People above my age, my father's age, have not seen a mobile, in their age. All mobiles came into force only after the year 1995. In India, it came into existence in the year 1998. That time it was in a brick size. Motorola came out, but today you see sleek phones with touch phones. Many things have changed. All these developments, if you see the rudimentary telephone which Graham Bell has created, has no relevance to what you are having on your hand. So the same invention is linked with information, and it has changed positions. In future, you may not even hold a phone in your hand. It may be a gadget, or it may be something else, wearable. We don't know how it is going to come. But all those can come only by you intelligent people who are now getting on to studying mechanical engineering. You guys are the fertile field for innovation. So you have to be proud of where you are now. Leave out what you learned in schools. You leave out what you want to go outside after your engineering also. Because after your engineering, it's a crossroad. It can be an employability, like because you are all studying, you want to get money after you study. So employability is one form. But then second option is there, where you can get into research, do a lot of things which the world requires, and then go on for research, or do something of your passion and become an entrepreneur. So your opportunities are widened, and it is up to you how you want to use it. But if you want to use anything, you have to start from today, because you can't become an employee right after just finishing your engineering. You can't just get into a research just after finishing. You just can't become an entrepreneur just after finishing. You have to nurture all your thoughts right from now. So that's what I said. It's a wishful thinking for your existence. But as APJ Abdul Kalam said, dream. If you dream, you will succeed with something consolidated for your evolution, for your existence. And similarly, if you dream alone, it will not be possible, but you have to work. If you work, then you see that you give all your potential to it and learn out of it. Don't be thinking that I just finish my engineering, get my grades and get out of it, or go out, go abroad. See, you are in a position called BIT, which is a world-renowned kind of an institution which will come by the time when you pass out. It already has a lot of contacts with the international universities. It is conducting a lot of international seminars, conferences, and many kind of collaborative exercises. joint projects and many things they are doing. And they have such a potential. They have a heart towards developing people. That's more important in a college of your size. And I'm really appreciative of this because many institutes they just go on with get grades and pass out no and get to an employment no. If you think only that is your life, then life cannot be so mundane. It should be cherishable only when you take risk. When you take risk, then means you should be prepared for it. See, why I said about myself, I bragged around like, starting from English Electric to what I am now, even after jumping out of a central government job, a state government job, having my own organization. Why? It's because you can have your life on your hand, provided you are prepared to use the skills which you have learned and you are confident of jumping. See, friends, life has a productive age between 20s to 50s. That's it. And after which you have to just think about what you have done and you have to cherish your remembrances of your past. So this 30 years is the one which is going to be a cherishable period for which you are investing today. So if you really want to make a churn out of this kind of investment in time, your energy, your efforts, and all that which will make you prosperous in your life, from what you are today to something which, like Elon Musk, what you come out, we don't know who you will be. All those guys who are cherishing now as big entrepreneurs or big employees or employers or whatever it is, all came from a normal level. So they are from the same place and you are from the same place. So from now, if you want to do it, see, if you want to become a sun, you need to burn like a sun. If you work hard, you are sure to make all the improvements that is expected out of you, and you will surely ripe benefit out of the ripened fruits which are going to be blossomed in your garden. With this, I take the opportunity to say thank you, best wishes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.